So, good morning or good night, depending on where you are in the world, and welcome to another interview of the Shield Dude on a Couch. I'm your host, Hector, and tonight I'm joined by two members of the band Scooped Up. They're a pop-up band, pop punk band from Connecticut, if I'm not mistaken. And I have here with me Jimmy and Leo. So, guys, how are you tonight?
Good man, how you doing?
I'm doing pretty good. How about you, Leo?
Very good.
Yeah,
Glad to
so
be on.
you what you're in the beyond?
No, so
Sorry.
he's glad to be on.
Glad to
Oh,
be on.
I thought he said he was in the beyond. I'm like, am I speaking to a dead Leo from the
Oh
grave?
no, no, not yet. Luckily
My
not yet.
last wishes was to talk with you, Shield dude. So thanks of all, thank you guys for joining me on the couch. I saw the interview you guys did with my friend Nick Zeno. Was pretty entertaining. So I watched it. So so we don't say the same questions. So I already know that you said it on that interview that the album took a while because you were thinking of the album title, which I thought like, yo, that's hilarious. But you have a great album title in the run. So scooped up, like you guys, tell me a little bit about like the band history, how you guys met and formed.
Okay, so we started off. Um, I just picked up the guitar after never really being a musician. I have more of a background in art and stuff, and so I just picked up the guitar, started writing some songs, and then started jamming with Jesse, and us and a friend of his, we started just writing songs and putting them together, and started writing our first album. Halfway through the first album, our original bass player quit, and that's when Leo joined the band. And from then, we finished writing the first album, put it out, and then we've just been trucking on ever since. Jesse, or Leo in bands with Jesse and stuff, so they've known each other for years and years and years. So he was like the first pick and the first person we thought of when we needed a new bass player. And I grew up knowing Jesse for years, so we've all kind of known each other through each other. I met Leo through Jesse, but now we've been working together now for over 8 years, so it's been going good.
Yeah, and it's crazy too because I did not play bass whatsoever until Jesse messaged me one day about 7 years ago at this point. I'm mostly a guitar player, played guitar for like the past 20 years or so. So me and Jesse were in like, a deathcore metalcore band back in the day. But my roots are in pop punk as well. So, when he hit me up, I was already familiar with Scooped Up at that point, and he was like, "Hey, do you actually want to play bass? I think I remember you, quote unquote, fiddling around with the bass back in the day, and it sounded pretty good." I was like, well, there was just like kind of an itch for me to play shows. I had just graduated college, and it was post grad life was kind of getting stale, going to the gym, going to work, going to bars on the weekend. I was just really itching to get out and play in front of people again. So, I jumped at the chance, and, Scooped Up was pretty established at that point in terms of like the band's image, their social media activity and everything. So I was all on board. I grew up in that genre pretty much. So is when he asked me if I played bass, like, yeah, yeah, I think I could pick it up. So
Your
literally,
best chords.
yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah. He grew up playing guitar, and he's a better guitar player than I am. But we just needed someone like that could fill in when he did. And since he was such a great guitar player, it was kind of easy in a sense for him to kind of translate that and rework his hands to play a bass. But for the
it
most
was a
part,
bit tough to be honest. I don't really have bass player hands, as they say. So it was kind of physically challenging for the first, I want to say like 3 4 months, maybe even a year, honestly, until it started to feel like I could play some of our songs in my sleep. Um,
mhm.
What
but yeah,
exactly
no, it was well
are
worth it.
bass player hands? That's a new one. Do they need to
So,
do they need to be bigger, shorter, like thicker
well,
feet?
I think just because it's a bigger instrument overall, yeah.
They gotta be stinky. They gotta have them stinky
It,
fingers.
that too, yeah, yeah. You gotta. I guess that's the mold, but I've just heard that term thrown around out there a lot. So it just felt like it was a bit of a hurdle to learn the instrument compared to guitar, and
Mhm.
my go-to way of playing guitar for like, I don't know, the past 10 years or so has been very lead oriented. Even I'd say even 15 years. So it was tough for me to kind of retrain my left hand to kind of hold back a little bit because obviously you can't do too many hammer-ons and pull-offs on bass. I mean, you can. There's some of that is in our music, but it's much more tame and control compared to, what I'd be doing on guitar, obviously.
Hmm. Yeah, and just like the bass hand thing, it's because the strings are so thick. You gotta beef your fingers up to get used to
You,
to
Exactly.
you
using
have
it.
like Robert Trujillo hands. Like, he's got
I gotta
like huge hands and he looks like menacing.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Oh yeah, his hands have grown since he's joined. I'll tell you that. Ladies, I don't know.
Just putting it out there. Leo, show your hands for the ladies who are watching.
Oh my
Yeah,
lord.
let's see those puppies. Yep,
See,
spread them, bro. Spread
10
them.
fingers for your fingering pleasure. See,
Exactly.
if you're single, Leo, that could be your slogan for the for the dating
Oh,
app.
shucks.
Ladies, he's a bachelor.
So dating aside, all about the thing. So that's interesting. So something that I was really impressed with was I really loved your music videos.
Thank you.
You guys do it. They're funny, and they all like tie into each other. It has like the same aesthetic. So I was reading on your website that there was one video that took you like a year to make. And there's like
Yeah,
a
that was reruns.
like yeah. Why did it take a whole year for that one?
That was during COVID. And it
Okay, that makes sense. Yeah.
Well, that's not why it took a year. It's because so what it was, the concept of the video was I just had this TV in the backseat of my car, and I was just bringing it to different places throughout the year and just getting shots of us playing the song through the TV. And so the main concept was going to be the background changing of this TV in different places and us playing through it or whatever. And we ended up like this whole album process was so long that like I ended up just working on that video for so long that I decided to kind of just include all the seasons of the year. So then I just spread it out for a little bit longer and just got this the fall and the winter and shit. And that's mostly why it took so long, is because I wanted to get all the different seasons that we get out here in the Long Island. I mean New England. Why don't I say Long Island? But yeah. So that's pretty much why it took so long. And each video kind of takes a while to edit and to think of and all that
Yeah,
stuff.
I would think so. Who are you Who's directing the videos?
Man, yeah. So I usually I'll think of all the concept and try to visualize the whole thing in my head, and then write out a script and shit, and then we'll go and we'll shoot it. And we'll have friends like hold the camera whenever we need them to. Like if I'm in the shot with the band and stuff, we'll have a friend operate the camera. But I'll still be like director of photography in a sense, and like figuring out each shot and then putting it all together. I edit it all and I color correct it all, and yeah. So that's why they all have the same kind of vibe, is because I'm also a filmmaker, and it's got my touch on all of them. You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah, I wanted to. I did not only want to like listen to the albums. I wanted to see the music videos. And the music videos, I thought they were fun. I thought they're better than high budget music videos from bigger bands. I like
thank you.
The Joyride music video. I just love it that you're like throwing the CD to people and they're like, oh, the CD.
Yeah.
Like I thought it was hilarious. And I don't know why I grew up in the 90s. So it really took me to that time in the 90s, like fun times, like CD players, like skateboarding. So I like that one. I actually like all the music videos because the one for the what Best Days, that's the one that you're like in a band and you guys are like driving around. So very cool. And the dyslexic one where you're like working like in a ice cream parlor and you guys get robbed. And a lot of things happens, and most of your songs are like 2.5 minutes. I think the longest is like 3.5, right?
Yeah, I think no, the longest is like 2.5 or some shit. Or no, yeah, 3.5 more. The song more, I think.
Yeah, there's one that's a little bit longer, but
Or maybe something sick. That one's probably a little longer. But yeah, on our new album, the longest song is like 2.5 minutes. But yeah, we try to cram as much shit into each video as we can in that minute and a half or 2 minutes that it usually lasts.
no, it's so yeah, it's the video like it's cool, and you say that you have friends on the music video. It reminds me of like when I was at school and we did like projects that we had to do short videos like that, only that in a way better capacity. So yeah, I really enjoyed them. And this album has 14 songs and it's 27 minutes. But yeah,
Mhm.
you're like, wow, 27 minutes, but it's longer than a grindcore record. But it really, the album really has like that. I was reminded of like that early 90s, like Blink 182 type of humor and
Mhm.
music style. So for Scooped Up, what would you say are your biggest influences musically?
So yeah, just mostly late 90s and early 2000s pop punk and skate punk. That's what me and Leo pretty much both grew up to, and a lot of people in our generation, because that's like what was on MTV and MMUSA and stuff, and in video games and movies. Like when I think back to my childhood, it's like a sunny day with fucking pop punk playing, and so that's kind of what we try to bring with. That's the vibe we try to bring with our music, whether we do it every time or not. Like whether each song is like happy or not, we still try to bring back that kind of nostalgic 90s pop punk style. And also I have a skateboarding background, so a lot of the songs in the beginning I just tried to write songs that I could skateboard to, and now we've kind of leaned more towards into just like melodic, like as we try to write the catchiest songs we can now. Doesn't You don't necessarily have to skate to them, but like they're definitely skatable. What about you, Leo?
Yeah, I mean, I pretty much travel like the whole spectrum of punk, metal, some hardcore, especially as of recent, in terms of all the genres I've been into. So obviously started with pop punk. Really, I guess you could say it even started with new metal because the first CD I ever had as a kid was Meteora by Linkin Park, and then gradually shifted into pop punk with like Yellow Card, Newfound Glory, that
Mhm.
led me to Green Day and Blink and Sum 41. That's when I kind of decided, like, okay, I want to be a guitar player at this point. Um, so, I feel like the natural progression for a lot of people, like after pop punk kind of fell from grace in terms of like mainstream popularity, was
Mhm.
to either go in the emo post hardcore route, become like kind of like a jock who listened to like rap and hip hop, or go in the metalcore or thrash metal route, which is kind of like the least traveled one, and that's the path I went into. It's kind of set before me from like interest in new metal that I already had, in like Slipknot, Disturbed, and then I had some friends who were into metalcore at that same time too, and that kind of started like my shredder phase on guitar, and then you know I kept wanting to like get better at like playing leads and soloing, so that led me to progressive metal and progressive rock, and eventually like progressive death metal, deathcore, hardcore at that point. So basically, not all of that is going to fit and scooped up. Obviously, I'm tapping into a lot of obviously pop punk roots, and as far as bass playing influences, definitely Matt Freeman. Even as a kid, I always thought he was like the best punk bass player, and I think a lot of people will attest to that even to this day. But recently, I want to say in like the past couple years, definitely Joe Raposo from RKL, and I think he's in Lagwagon now too. But I've never really like listened to RKL like that, but I've listened to just enough to hear Joe Raposo's style. And it's very much kind of, I see old footage of him playing the headless bass and he's just shredding. I'm like, that's like me on guitar when I was like a teenager. And I was like, so I can get away with doing some of this stuff if I try.
Yeah, it
So
just has to fit.
basically, yeah, basically those two. And I want to say like Roger Lima from Less Than Jake, another another good
Yeah,
bass
oh, I
player.
remember Less Than Jake, that ska sound, God bless the 90s. It was so much fun.
Hmm.
And yeah, I remember skateboarding was huge in the 90s. Tony Hawk. I remember all those games. Like you discovered a lot of bands in the video games. Uh,
Yeah.
Actually, how I discovered, I always lose track of this, but those are like the first pop punk songs I ever heard of first punk. It was Melancholy, No Cigar, and Lagwagon. What was it, May
May
6th,
6th,
right?
May 16th, yeah.
There it is. Yeah. And like I couldn't read that well like when I was a young kid. And so I didn't really like know most of the songs that were playing until like my friend's older brother was like, "Oh, you gotta really like keep this song on repeat. It's Melancholy, No Cigar." And I was like, "Oh yeah, this I like this song. It's really good." So
Yeah. For me, like I had like older friends when I was growing up that just gave me like mixtapes of CDs and shit with just like a ton of random bands on them, and I always think that they're all Sum 41 or Blink 182 because they sounded similar. It wasn't until like years later that I found out that like what band was what, and yeah, that's pretty much like. And what's funny is like when we started our band, there was like not a lot of pop punk bands doing their thing, and then it wasn't until a couple years after that it's made such a resurgence lately, like with MGK and with like every band and their mother making a record again. And I feel like we're
Every
doing it.
band and their mother. That should be a band name. Every band and their
Yeah, exactly. Well, I mean, even this, like, with Neck Deep made an album, Sum 41 made an album, Green Day made an album, Blink 182, uh, the list goes on, like just this year. So like this year's a great year for pop punk. And when we started around 2015, 2016, about the same thing happened. Green Day made an album, Blink made an album, Good Charlotte made an album. Like who else made
And
an
like
album?
Neck Deep, I think at that time, 2015,
yeah,
2016 was like
that
the
had a
face
few
of
tunes.
Yeah,
yeah.
they were. Yeah, they
Last
were like the
year
face
there
of
was
pop punk.
also a band called Knuckle Puck that released a pop punk album that I really enjoyed.
They
Uh,
just dropped an album this year too. Yeah,
yeah,
Knuckle Puck
yeah,
are
and
great.
next year, last year, yeah, pretty. And so, Jimmy, I like the shorts that you make on Instagram, like those like mini reviews. They're funny as hell. There you where you're like, this album sucks. Listens to Scooped Up. I'm like, yeah, that's really funny. Like, have you ever got a band that maybe like a bigger band that saw the clip and they're like, how dare you like say their album sucked?
I wish they would say something, but no, they wouldn't say anything. We do jokes like that all the time. Like we just did one not long ago where like Pierre from Simple Plan, he made us like a cameo video that we paid for like years ago, and then I edited it again and changed all the words so that it was like relevant for our newest release. And then I made a fake DM of him like DMing us like all angry, being like, "Yo, you only paid me for one cameo video. You can't reuse this." And then I just like said, "Get fucked, loser," or whatever. And I took a screenshot of that and photoshopped it, whatever. Like it wasn't a real DM, but I posted that, and that got like 1,000 likes. And I
Well,
feel like that's mad funny.
I never heard of like a beef from like pop punk.
Pop punk bands, yeah, I'm
It's
gonna
not like
start
the
one.
90s where you had the East Coast rappers against the West Coast. It would be funny to have like a pop punk like rivalry.
Yeah,
Uh,
we're gonna start one with MGK. We already have our website is mgksucks.com. Like if you type that in, it goes to our website.
are
And I
you
did
talking
this
about MGK? That's oh my god, the
the
rapper
rapper.
now. Oh my god, I actually reviewed his last album. I remember that the slogan I put like Blink 182 called and they want their sound back.
Yeah.
I think for me that was one of the worst pop punk records I've heard ever. And
Yeah.
I remember saying in my review that like you know what's so bad? You know you suck. Like when you suck in a genre as rap, and you have to go to pop punk because just made him his bitch, and
Yeah,
you
yeah, yeah.
you just have to go to pop punk. And it's just atrocious. It's
Yeah, I mean, but you know, somebody kind of had to do it to make it relevant again and like
yeah, well, yeah.
get it in front of like the younger generations, even if it was going to be a little cringy with like the OG fans. You know, it is what it is, and I think everyone's kind of seen a bit of his personality, even going into the genre to determine whether or not
The
I think
dude's
he's
crazy.
really about it.
Like he did like a tattoo sleeve where he painted himself like all. I never understand that tattoo where you put like everything black. I'm
Blackout
Yeah, I
tattoo.
can't, we can't keep up with that guy. You know,
like,
he
why
did his
would you
thing.
pay to do that? That's not even a tattoo. It doesn't make sense. The guy's crazy. Probably breaking up with Megan Fox fucked up his brain.
Yeah.
Would fuck
So
up my brain
the,
too.
the good thing about his album and his like his rise to fame or whatever, and like it's good for bands like us because now there's a bunch of random people that weren't necessarily into pop punk that are now because MGK made it
you
and shit.
you play
And
good pop punk, so
yeah,
they'll be
thank
like,
you.
"Oh my god, this shit can actually be good." Yes,
Yeah,
yes,
yeah.
yes, people, there is good pop punk. Like
And what's
a lot of people are afraid of the word pop before.
yeah, yeah, I could see that. I feel like that the stigma of that has kind of gone away in the like lately, the past 10 years or something. But back in the day, I feel like that definitely like was a little funny for people. But yeah, when MGK was huge, we made the website mgksucks.com. and we posted that on Facebook, and that shit blew up. And then I made another fake DM of MGK being like, "Yo, you gotta change your website, or else I'm gonna tell Travis to kick you guys out of the genre or some shit." I made up this long, stupid fake thing. I posted that, and that went viral. And yeah, that was some of the cheapest promo we've ever had. Was
Oh,
just buying that website.
you guys are great with the marketing. And I'm gonna show your website because your website is pretty cool. Like I'm telling you, you guys are doing it right. Like it looks super awesome. You know, you have all the information.
Thank you.
You have like the videos, you have all the links to buy so I'm gonna show, yeah, here's you can buy the vinyl bundle. So it's $50 and you get the shoelaces, the cards. I'm telling you, you guys are good at this. This is great like promo, like I'm showing this. I love the vinyl, the blue, and obviously the album title, you know, the runs. And if I can, you see,
Yeah, there it is.
he has shit himself. So on that subject, this is a good topic to have. Like everyone has had the runs sometime in their lifetime. Everyone, give an example of when you had the runs and why did it happen. Jimmy, we'll start with you. And I have a story to tell, so I'll go last.
Yeah, Leo, we'll start with you.
Okay, Leo, let's start with Leo.
I'm just kidding. I've actually never shit myself like as an adult or nothing. But one time I got one. I was a kid though. I was a kid. It was in kindergarten. I went to go take a piss and I was sitting down, right? And I had my shorts down, and like the way that the fucking the toilet was, there was a big gap between the seat and like the toilet, and I pissed straight through that gap right onto where my shorts were. And then I like fucking got up and put my shorts back on, realized I had pissed myself. I went back to class and just tried to like play it off. And then like a teacher was like, "Hey, you smell like piss." Like you, and then they like brought me and like got me some like you know when there's like the random bin of like old clothes at the school, like in the office, whatever. They just gave me some shit to wear. And that's my story. It wasn't shit, but it was piss.
But it's still embarrassing. What about you, Leo? Come on, share. It's a safe environment.
I don't really pay attention too much when it happens. If it happens, maybe an instance of food poisoning. I really can't recall when I had the runs. I don't think I've ever actually shit myself as an adult either.
Every time I go to Buffalo Wild Wings, I have the fucking runs, but I land.
Yeah,
that
I'm trying to
shit in the
think
toilet.
of like a fast food or some kind of like
Taco Bell will do it every time.
Depends on the Taco Bell you go to, I feel like. That's definitely happened at least once or twice. Not as much as people say, but it will happen at one point or another.
I usually got a toilet nearby, so I got good aim.
Yeah, so I actually have a story that will beat your story. So it was 2003, and I was going to see a metal band here in Puerto Rico. So I had to go pick up my girlfriend at the time. She lived like 20 minutes from me. So my sister decided to do like some steaks, but she really like seasoned them. Like she put too much seasoning on them. So I ate the steak, and I'm like, go to get my girlfriend to go to the concert, and I'm driving, and all of a sudden I feel my stomach. I feel that, I'm like, oh my God, I got a shit. So, but I'm getting to my girlfriend's house. I'm thinking, okay, I can get there and I can shit there. So I get to my girlfriend's house and I have to go shit. And the first thing they tell me is that their toilet is broken.
Oh my God.
So I'm like, okay, and I try to explain here. Okay, let's go to my house. I gotta go before to the house before we go. So I'm driving and I'm sweating and I'm like, oh my God, I gotta hold it. I like had to quench.
Oh yeah.
Like I had to do like clenching of the butt cheek. So I'm getting to my house and I'm like trying to. I just put the car. I jump out. I told her to park it, and I'm running, getting to my house, and I couldn't find my keys. And then I feel it. I pooped myself in front of my house. and it was. I was
You're
like,
just there.
Yes, but at least I got to my house. I took a shower. The clothes that I had, threw it in the trash. I took
Damn.
something for the stomach. I felt great. I showered. I put some different pants, and then I went to see the band, and it was awesome. But yeah, that's the only time I have shit myself as an adult.
I gotta say that that is very, very phenomenal that you remember that, given it was like almost or more than 20 years ago. I can't even remember my own instances
Well,
of runs.
I don't think I don't think I would forget shitting myself.
Yeah, that's a big one for
I
sure.
probably wouldn't either. You're
And
right.
I wasn't drunk. That's why I wasn't drunk, so I would remember that.
Dude, I remember peeing on myself when I was in kindergarten, dude. It was more than 20 years ago. I was 5.
Yeah, so yeah, that's my run story. So I think mine wins, but yeah, the I love the album cover. You know, it's it's fun, it's tongue in cheek, and I like the videos as well. So for you guys in this album, like if for someone that hasn't listened to Scoop Talk, which song would you tell them this is the song that you gotta hear first?
I'd probably say Best Days, just because it's kind of like the overall like sing along type of chorus. Either that or Slingshot, which is my favorite, one of my favorites on the album. Um, but yeah, but Best Days with the video, I think, is a great representation of our band. What do you think, Leo?
I think in terms of like just a go-to hit, Dyslexic, I always think Dyslexic, but it is a bit too short compared to like Best Days. And there's not that much footage of us playing in the video for Dyslexic either. So maybe Best Days is the best way to present our music, our visuals to a new audience, new listener. Yeah, I'd go with Best Days and maybe Shoelace in terms of like what we can all pull off in terms of musical capabilities.
Hmm. I say you couldn't go
Yeah,
wrong. If you just played our album from front to back, you'll dig it all.
It's 27 minutes.
better answer.
It flies fast.
Hmm.
So you something you guys are great are the merch. You got stickers, you got shoelaces.
Hmm.
You guys are building your own do-it-yourself empire. Like how do you come up with with the merchandising? Like how do you guys like brainstorm of like what would sell well?
Yeah, I mean, well, the shoelaces we got those just because we had a song called Shoelace on the
Yeah,
album. So like that was to go with that. And then we ended up just throwing that into the bundle. And then like since the album cover was kind of like baseball themed, we got like baseball cards. And then we just tried to get anything that any other band like had, which is like t-shirts and uh like what's it called? Like patches and stuff and hats and
pooped
just like
up
stuff like
depends. You should pooped up depends. That would be a best.
that. Oh yeah. We're gonna get some toilet paper soon. I've looked into getting toilet paper, but it's not, it doesn't make sense. The digits aren't right. You know what I'm saying? The
Yeah,
margins aren't there.
yeah. I don't think toilet paper would be such a great sell. Yeah,
It'd be
I'm
funny
with
though.
you. I'm with you with there. So, so recently we celebrated 420. You're still celebrating 420 as we speak.
I'm
Yeah,
always.
it's a great holiday. So you guys played. I think I saw your Instagram. You played a house show on 420. How awesome was that?
It was awesome. You tell him, Leo. Tell
To
him how
me,
awesome it was.
honestly, it for me it went by a little too quick, but it was great. We had three other bands play. One of them came all the way up from Long Island. This band Waver played a bunch of one show with. Sorry, hopefully we play more shows with them.
Hmm.
Um, no, it was great. A lot of crowd surfing, moshing.
Big turnout, 150 people. It was sick.
A lot of people for like whose house was it?
It was my buddy Colby's house, and it's funny because it was supposed to be at a different place. We were throwing these house shows in this big garage, and it was like the perfect setup. But then like shit got crossed, and we couldn't do it there. So then we ended up. I just like was trying to figure out where we're gonna do this show. We were maybe thinking
I'm
of
guessing
doing
you gotta get like permits and shit, right?
no permits. We just do this crap. It's you just send it. But
Until the
we
cops show up.
yeah, luckily the cops didn't show up this time. They usually do, and usually all we got to do is just tell them like, yeah, we'll turn it down and we're gonna be done in a half hour or whatever. And they usually just leave us alone. But so yeah, it was up in the air. We were thinking of doing like a VFW or someone's house, and then eventually my boy Colby was like saying like, hey, we should do a show in my yard or whatever. Like he kept talking about doing a show in his yard, and I'm like, yeah, but it's easier to have it in like a basement or in like a closed place so that we can take, we can charge money and kind of control who's coming in and who's not, whatever. So we convinced him that his basement would work out if we just cleaned it all out. Like I went downstairs and just saw that it was filled with shit, but there was enough room for us to make a pretty decent floor for everyone to mosh and stuff. We just had to move everything out, and literally it took like 4 days or something leading up to the party, just like sweeping everything. Like we had to sweep it 4 different times because as soon as you swept everything, all the air is just filled with dust. So you have to let it like land again and then sweep it. And there's literally like 100 years of fucking dust and dirt in that basement that we cleaned out. And but it went smooth. After that, it was clean, and it was like it was a little cramped. It was a little small, but I think it was just enough for everyone to fucking mosh. And we had 100 people in there, so it was awesome.
Yeah, that's awesome. Usually, you guys usually do like house shows, or do you play bars as well and stuff?
Yeah, we started off like doing only bars and stuff, and lately we've been moving towards doing just house shows because it's easier to like control everything. You don't have to like people come, they don't have to pay $6 for a beer. You don't have to be 21. You can come and kind of do whatever you want. It's way cooler of like an underground vibe. You feel like you're part of a scene more than if you're going to a bar. And so that's what we're kind of doing that more whenever we can. If we could land more house shows, we'll just only do that. Which this tour that we actually just did, I'd say was more than 50% house shows. Actually, I think we did how many venues did we do, Leo? Two? Like two venues, and the rest were all house shows.
I think it was closer to 3 or 4, but I think it was just about a 50-50 split between venues. And then just like the second half of the tour was all house shows. But yeah, I think we'd still probably want to like maintain that
Which
ratio of like, even split between house shows and venues. And if it skews a little more towards having like slightly more house shows, yeah, all the better. It definitely gives that, like Jimmy said, that very underground type of vibe, which is what we've been striving for.
we just need bigger houses now, it seems like, which is a good problem to have.
You need the nicer houses like that. But I remember movies from the 90s where you had like a house band playing all those American Pie movies. You had like bands. There was one called Can Hardly Wait. The movie sucked, but but yeah, like they had like a house band and stuff like that. So yeah, and I'm guessing you book your own shows, like everything yourself. Uh,
Yeah.
the merch. So yeah, you guys seem to have like a formula that's working, and now you have your sophomore album out, like, and you have like people can buy that shit, and it's all the profits go to you guys. So that's awesome. Yeah.
Yeah, it's all starting to snowball, and all the work we've been putting in is starting to finally work. And yeah, we're playing good shows. We have good crowds. The Spotify numbers are doing good. We sold most of our albums, still trying to get rid of the rest of them, but it's been
Oh
going
yeah.
good.
Actually, I know about that because I did an interview with someone who has a small label in San Francisco called Tank Crimes, that they do like a lot of like metal underground. And he told me how he started his label by his own band, that like he was told like if you have if you have the albums, you have to sell them. If not, they're not worth shit. So yeah, that's a interesting mentality. So for people who want to order the albums, how many copies do you have left for people who want to buy that physically?
We have like less than 100. We only had 200 to begin
Okay.
with, and yeah, we're getting down to the last half, pretty much. So yeah. And anybody who buys the vinyl gets the CD for free too. And there's a lot of cool shit in the CD, like in the booklet. There's a bunch of cool jokes and stuff, so it's worth getting.
Yeah, I'm guessing there's some cool jokes there.
Yeah,
Uh,
did you get yours yet? I sent it out. It's probably not there yet, right?
no, it's not here yet, but yeah, I'm stoked to when I get it to listen to it. So if you guys want, we can play now a game. So I have a few albums with me. So what I'll do is like I'll show two albums at a time, and you have to pick one and say why. And the one that's not picked or anything will get eliminated. unless everyone picks a different album, and to see who's the winner. So I have two albums. Let's start with the first two albums. So I have Offspring Smash
Hmm.
and Rancid and Out Come the Wolves. Like, which one would you pick and why?
We each have our own answer, right? Or are we answering as just
Oh
okay?
yeah, whatever.
Um,
Yeah, whatever your answer is. I'd probably pick Smash.
I'm gonna go with Outcome the Wolves because I actually had that CD. I think that was my first Rancid album, and Maxwell Murder to this day. Like anyone who goes our shows, like that's almost always my warm up. Like the not the solo. I still after all this time haven't really learned it, but the like intro, like da 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 that and then like into the chorus. I don't think I've ever listened to Smash all the way through, just the
Oh my
singles,
God,
but
man, you have
You're
to.
yeah,
missing out. Yeah.
It's
I
a
am.
classic album
I
that
love the Offspring too. I love the Offspring, but you know,
this
I
is
just
their best. This one and I think Ixnay on the Hombre
Yeah.
that
are
one I
there, and
really like. I
Ignition.
think
I have
that's
Ignition also on vinyl. I
yeah.
don't have Ixnay on the Hombre are their best ones. So since we're only free, I'm gonna have to vote for one. So I love both, but this one for me. So
I
so
used to skip to that one all the time. That shit's a perfect.
it's
I'm.
eliminated. So Smash now it's safe for now. So let's pick two other albums. So we have Bad Brains and the Ramones.
I'm gonna go with Bad Brains, even though I'm like not as familiar. I've heard a few Bad Brains songs, but I just think the vibe and like how relevant they've been compared. Ramones are pretty influential overall, but I feel like what
Yeah, no,
Bad Brains,
this
how
is a
Bad
great
Brains
album cover.
contribute, yeah, how Bad Brains contributed to like some of the things that I like. I'm gonna go with Bad Brains.
Okay, you go Bad.
I'm not super big on like 70s punk, but you know, they are a very timeless band.
Yeah. What about you, Jimmy?
Yeah, I gotta go with Ramones just because like I'm not too familiar with Bad Brains. Uh, yeah, that's the reason.
Yeah. I go with Ramones as well because come on, this is punk as fuck, you know.
Sonic.
They're like the forefathers of everything punk. Also, you know, the Clash and Sex Pistols. But to this day, I really enjoy the Ramones, and I think it wasn't called pop punk back there, but they have pop punk. Like you know, their songs were catchy. You could sing along to them, and you know they had great energy. So I would eliminate. I would pick also Ramones. So Ramones is safe. Bad Brains no. So we have Ramones and the Offspring for now
Dude,
safe.
I'm the outlier here. I'm picking all the losing picks.
Oh man. So next we have Green Day, and I didn't pick Dookie because I picked this one. I actually bought Insomniac on vinyl. I think this is an underrated record in my opinion. And
Oh
Of
yeah.
course.
Blink
Of
182,
course, you gotta do
Oh
that.
no.
Enema of the State. So
Torture.
which one
Yeah.
would you choose?
I gotta go with Enema. That's my like one of my favorite Blink albums, front to back. Even though Insomniac is also like one of my favorite Green Day albums. Just something about the staying power of all those songs on Enema. I could listen to that shit all the time and just be 16 again.
Oh yeah.
I I think objectively, Enema, anyone like off the street, even if you don't like pop punk that much, will pick Enema. It stands the test of time. Even as like if you ask every Blink fan like what I haven't picked Enema yet though. If you ask like any Blink fan like what the best Blink album is of all time, they're most likely gonna say like, I don't know, self-titled or Enema, I feel like. But I'm gonna have to go with Insomniac because that was just I said this on the other podcast. Green Day was a bit more influential in terms of my guitar playing style as a kid. And Insomniac is just pure aggression. I mean, you look at how
I love
Green
Geek
Day was
Skin's
playing.
Breath.
Yes, yes. My favorite on that one is Panic Song, and they've never played it live. I remember learning that song and being so hyped that I figured out the song like beginning to end. When I wasn't like super good at guitar just yet. But yeah, no, that one was just I really love that one. If you look at like their live performances in that time period, they're insane. They never looked more pissed off in that time period than like 95 to 96 Insomniac era. So I'm gonna go with Insomniac.
Yeah, this is a tough one because I think this is a very underrated album, but I have
Very much so.
I'm gonna vote again. I'm very nostalgic with this. I don't know. This album really brings back a lot of memories. Uh,
See,
uh,
for me with Enema, it was mostly the singles. I never had Enema as a kid until like later. I had the two Blink albums I had, or three, were Takeoff and Untitled, and then the Greatest Hits. So
I
yeah, I
had
still liked
Enema.
Enema.
I had Enema CD stuck in my car when I was like 18, so I know every sound on that record.
Yeah, I got Enema like a little later.
yeah, yeah, and obviously, this album cover is iconic. You had the porn star in the cover, and it's a great album. So this was a great album as well, but I think I have more nostalgic feelings to this one, so I'll pick Enema as well. So Green Day is out, so we have 3 albums now.
You're shredding all the ones that we're not picking, right? They're going straight into a shredder,
No,
right?
no, man, no.
Oh no.
What are you doing?
I'm gonna store them.
What kind of game is this, man?
I'm picking all the losing ones. God
No,
damn.
I'm not gonna. Vinyls are fucking expensive, man. I'm not gonna
I
break.
know. I got a whole box of them over there. I was just kidding.
If it was CDs, I'm like, throw it away.
Yeah.
So we have the Ramones, the Offspring Smash, and Blink 182 Enema of the State. So right now, which one would you like eliminate from these 3 like right away?
Ramones.
The Ramones, yeah.
I have to agree with Ramones because even though it's really awesome, like I didn't listen to this as much growing up as the other 2. So Ramones is out. So the final battle, it's the Offspring Smash versus Blink 182 Enema of the State. So
Enema.
which would you pick?
Both awesome albums, but yeah, it has to be Enema.
Agreed.
On this one, I vote against you. I say Smash, but yeah, I'm outvoted 2 against 1 because this record I fucking love Smash by the Offspring. But yeah,
Well, too bad. Now you have to smash it because it lost.
I have to smash, and so I'll have to live with Blink 182 and M of the State. It's awesome, but you know what? It's more pure pop punk because Smash is more punk, like
I'd say,
punk
yeah.
alternative.
There's kind of like a grungy vibe about it too, if I'm
Yeah.
remembering correctly.
Oh, it's a great album. If you haven't listened to it, it just turned 30 a few weeks ago. I did a video on it, and yeah, it's a great album. But yeah, so I'm gonna leave here Blink. So Blink wins for the album that we picked. So guys, the album, I really enjoyed the album. It's great. It's got that nostalgic feel. I love that the band is a DIY, and you guys seem to have it all together. So it's cool to see. I think these 2 years that I've been doing the channel and talking to bands, I can tell there's a lot of like bands that are on record labels and really get screwed. So it's I don't know, and think a lot of the future is more DIY. A lot of bands controlling their own stuff because like the music industry has changed so much. So what are right now the album is out, you guys are doing house show. What's next for Scooped Up?
We're playing shows, we're writing songs, and we're just trying to keep the ball rolling, keeping this snowball going because it's growing, and all we gotta do is just keep nurturing it, and it's finally starting to get big and strong. And yeah, basically we're gonna try to come out with like an EP or something next year, beginning of next year, and try to stay independent as long as we can. Like you're saying, like a record label is kind of just like a loan that has shitty fucking interest rates attached to it, unless like if we can make the connections on our own, we'd rather do that, so we'll see.
Yeah, no, that's a good thing. What about you, Leo?
I think this year we definitely played so far a ton of out of state shows compared to previous years. Only one of those states was really new to us, which was Pennsylvania. But I think hopefully in the near future we start expanding further down the East Coast, like the Carolinas, maybe Virginia, Maryland, and ideally Florida. And maybe we work out the logistics of planning something out in the Midwest. Don't hold us to that just yet, but it'll be in the works.
Hmm. Yeah,
Yeah.
we want to just keep spreading our market and trying. If we could play a show like we did last weekend in different states, like then we'll be really doing something then. So until then, we just need to keep growing and spreading out a little bit, playing out of state here and there, and just keep doing our thing, making more music.
And
Yeah,
something you can
definitely
do on
excited.
tour, if you guys are hungry and have the munchies, people can go to the house show and bring you food. I interviewed a band called The Ocean, and they have a greet and meet, but it's a greet and feed. So you bring food to them. Yeah, and you're like, oh,
That's cool. We usually have pizza at our house shows for everybody, so
it's
we're usually
food.
the ones feeding people.
Yeah, or less people will want to fuck with you and bring you food that would make you get the runs.
Oh yeah, that's not what we want. Yeah.
That would be unfortunate.
Yeah, yeah.
Show canceled, maybe.
Maybe the tour can be sponsored by Taco Bell.
Yeah.
There's an idea.
Sponsored by Poop Company, big Poop Company.
Sure.
Sponsored by
No,
company.
but equally as excited to get back to writing. We already have a couple new songs that are complete, and we have a few more that we dabbled into, and I really like what we've come up with so far.
Yeah, we
Nice.
just debuted this new song at the party for the first time playing it live, and it went off good. We're stoked about that one.
What's the song title for the new one that you debuted?
It's called Better Off.
Better
So
Off.
that's
Okay.
coming eventually, probably next year. But it's a hit. Let me tell you.
That's good, that you got the confidence like it's a hit. You gotta have confidence like like I know you sampled Noel Gallagher in one of the songs here. Apparently he hates skateboarders and his brother.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
know
yeah.
Nick Sino is like he loves Oasis. I love their first albums
Telling us.
and stuff, but yeah, like I wouldn't want to interview them because I think they would be both dicks.
Yeah. I mean, he hates skateboarders for some reason. What a loser.
he, he hates skate. Ah, fucking skateboarders. I don't know. Yeah, I think he hates a lot of stuff. He looks like a very like a bitter type of guy. But when
He's like this. He's like, oh, the Beatles didn't skateboard? Fuck skateboarders. Are you kidding
oh
me? You think John Lennon would be fucking skateboarding right now? He'd be playing guitar and wearing his circular glasses. All right,
yeah,
get out of
no.
my face. I'm Oasis. The
Yeah,
new
but the good
Beatles.
thing about Oasis is like with their first album, they had that attitude, like they played it. Their first single was called Rock and Roll Star. You gotta have balls to put a song like that when you're not rock and roll star. So yeah, it's having that winning mentality.
That's true.
I think helps. Like when I started my YouTube channel, I was doing videos thinking like, oh, I have thousands, and I had like 5 subscribers. But but the channel has been growing and stuff. So yeah, it's been cool, and now I get to talk to all type of bands all the time. So Jimmy, Leo, I want to thank you for taking some time of your night to chat with me about, Scooped Up, the runs, sharing some stories, and also, talking some albums with me. So anything that you would like to say to the fans before we leave tonight?
I'd say just listen to the runs, check out the videos if you like what you hear. Maybe pick up the vinyl. Otherwise, just check us out. Follow us on Instagram. That's where we're most active. That's where we post shows and everything, and we post funny shit. So even if you just like funny shit, you can post it. You can follow us there and see that. And
Stream
that's
the
pretty much.
runs.
Yep.
Stream the runs on your phone on mute and just let it
No,
run.
no,
for you.
not on mute. On like 2. Yeah, when you go to sleep, just put the runs on and just leave it on all night. Give us those views. We're gonna
On
game the
two.
system.
Yeah, I've said the same sometimes on my channel, like put it on the background while you're getting it on.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, let me like talk from the couch with you. I don't care. Well, basically, when I think of it, like sometimes I think of it, I wonder how many people are taking a dump watching my videos. Maybe not well, it could be the interviews. Like if they're a long time there, like, hey, you can watch it. I don't care. Just wherever you want to watch me, you can watch me, and whatever floats your boat. So again,
I'm taking a dump right now, my friend. So
no. Well, you look very relaxed for taking a dump. Like that's
that's,
a
that's how you got to do it.
He needs a run story, and he probably felt like
I'm making it
uh,
right now.
yeah.
like
I
that. You
got a run
remember
Like
that
story.
shit,
time?
I don't have a run story.
Yeah,
I
I
gotta
remember that
start
time I
now.
was on that interview through the internet. I was pooping myself. Yeah, that would be a cool story.
Yep. It'll be right here online forever.
Yeah, for online forever for longer since we are dead. So, Jimmy, Leo, again, thank you for taking some time. I really enjoyed the record, and I want nothing but success for the band. So, everyone, I'll post the link for Scooped Up. So people who want to know more about the band, watch the videos and everything can get into them. So until
yeah.
next time, people, this is Hector, the Shield Dude on a couch, and I'll see you all right here on the couch. Thank you and goodbye.